Hello everyone, xForts here, and welcome to JoJolion Chapter 98 review and discussion, where this month we'll be joined by my beautiful cat Misty over here in her cat tree. You guys have seen my cats before if you watch a lot of the JoJolion reviews, and just sometimes in the background of videos that I show my face in, you guys will often see Misty in this cat tree over here. I don't know how the video will be cropped, but you guys will probably be able to see her. She's just sleeping, chilling. She'll probably get up and leave at some point. But anyways, on to the JoJolion chapter review. We have chapter 98, and we are in the fourth part of the Endless Calamity arc, and the calamity continues. So jumping right into the chapter, starting with the cover page, which is a really cool cover page, and I don't think it's anything Araki has explicitly done before, where it's like recreate an album cover. Man, now that I say that out loud, he's probably done that before, but I can't think of any that come to mind right now where he's recreated an album cover through a cover page, and this one's like the most explicit version he's ever done before. Not like a bad way, but like in an obvious way. So you have, obviously it's a reference to Coda, the Led Zeppelin album, Coda. I'm sure we've all know about that one. We've covered it a few times on this channel before because Araki has referenced it three times in JoJolion throughout this entire part. So it's kind of crazy that this album has been in like Araki's mind for almost 10 years now, because we first saw the album in chapter 9, just sitting on the ground in the Higashikata home, I believe it was. And then we had Poor Tom and Ozone Baby, Stan User and Stan, both named after songs from the album Coda. And now we have this chapter cover, which is the Coda album cover recreated. It's even like the same font and the line in the middle, but we have JoJo characters in it. So Araki must really love this album. It's weird. It's not even like, it's a good album, but it's not like even, you know, remotely near like the best Led Zeppelin albums. But of course, it's still a good album, but just not my favorite Led Zeppelin album. But Araki apparently really likes it. And otherwise, on the cover page, we just see little portraits of a lot of the major players right now. We have Josuke with this redesign that every time I see this redesign, it grows on me more and more. And behind Josuke, we have Toru, and then on the left side, you have Mamazuku, doggy style, Yasuo, and Paisley Park with some narration that says engage the enemy, and then you have JoJolion at the bottom that is again written in the Coda font. So getting right into the chapter here, we're thrown into a sequence that we saw a glimpse of in chapter 97, if you guys remember, where Mamazuku is going to Josuke at the TG University Hospital. He broke out of prison, and he's on his way back to the hospital, but he noticed that the head doctor was behind him, and he was just really nervous about it. And he goes, okay, he's behind me, let's just try to get to Josuke first. That's pretty much what we're doing in the beginning part of this chapter, and pretty much the first like 10 pages of this chapter is just Mamazuku and the head doctor moving and getting to Josuke. Not a lot of dialogue, just Josuke, or just Mamazuku saying that we need to get to Wu Tomoki's lab, I need to get there first. And of course, the head doctor is doing a lot of crazy things. I don't know if it's just an ability or just something Araki really likes to draw, because obviously not everything that a character does in JoJo is like one of their abilities. Sometimes you'll see characters do really random things, whether it's because Araki likes to draw that or if you want to reference something obscure. And we talked about a few chapters ago, maybe the last chapter, that the head doctor's ability is, one of the abilities that he has where he's able to walk into objects is a reference to the artist Renee Magritte, I think it was, that draws a lot of these abstract paintings where things are just like inside of things. It's hard to describe, but it's a really clear reference to Renee's art. We covered it a few chapters ago. So you have the head doctor moving inside of objects. And so I wanted to mention this also. It's like, although JoJolion is really long, it's almost 100 chapters. I mean, compared to all of the Stan users we fought and everything that's happened, it doesn't really feel like 100 chapters, does it? And especially Steel Ball Run 2, although there was a lot happening in Steel Ball Run, and it was a long part. The reason why I think JoJolion has gone on so long, and the reason why it's not crazy more eventful than all the other parts, is that Araki is just really taking his time, and he really just likes to draw things. If you guys ever noticed that, where the first like 10 pages or just literally half a chapter, sometimes there won't be any dialogue, it will just be characters moving around their environment and Araki drawing like every little detail. Like a lot of times in manga, characters will just go places and we won't see them go there because the author really wants to tell their story, or they're just kind of, you know, obviously a lot of manga are also weekly, so they're rushing to get these chapters out every single week. But I really like that Araki switched to monthly, whatever it was in like 2006, I think. It really fits his style of writing manga and just the way that he likes to draw things with a lot of detail and really show us everything that's happening. So we see going up the escalator, we see every turn they take getting to this Wu Tomoki's laboratory. And that's just, for me, one of the reasons why I think JoJolion has gone on as long as it does, because Araki's just taking his time and he really likes to draw things. And speaking of one of the things he draws in this sequence is that we see a very clear reference to Love Train. There's like a paneled wall and the head doctor goes inside of it and it just looks just like Love Train. Just a cool little reference I think Araki stuck in there for all the Steel Ball Run fans that remember. And Yeah, that's just really cool looking. Thank you, Araki. Thank you for referencing Love Chain. But we finally get to Wu Tomoki's lab, and Josuke is sitting there, as he has been for the past 6 chapters, I believe now. And we finally get Mamazuku and Josuke linked up. This is something I've been waiting for a long time. I love this duo. I love their dynamic, and I love their friendship, relationship. I love them. They're like my favorite characters in this entire part. Mamazuku's my favorite. Josuke's my favorite. Them together, just anytime they're on screen on the panels, I love it. They do crazy things together. They get Lamborghinis stuck in trees. It's a great time. So as soon as they link up, Mamazuku is just, of course, he probably has some questions for Josuke. He hasn't seen him since his redesign, so I'm pretty sure, he doesn't say it this chapter, unfortunately, but I assume Mamazuku at some point is going to be like, hey, Josuke, by the way, what happened to your eye? Unless I'm like seriously blanking out. No, Mamazuku is not there because Mamazuku got arrested in the park. So Mamazuku does not know why Josuke looks like this. And he also doesn't really know why he's waiting there, although Josuke will explain later in this chapter a little bit to Mamazuku about what his plan is. So swapping over to perspectives, we're going back to the Higashikata state where we have Yasuo still on the ground, still dying. No one's helping her. Come on, please, Araki, how long do we have to see Yasuo suffer for? How many times are you going to draw her just dying? Please, someone help her. And we see some narration from Toru and the way he's talking, and more we see from him throughout this chapter. Toru is 100% the villain of this arc. He is in control of the head doctor, and it is his stand, as we'll see. So he says the right way, even if someone does all the right things, they walk on the right path, it is inevitable that bad things will happen, which is true. You know, which again brings this back to like the whole theme of Steel Ball Run, which is the balance. You know, as anything that good happens, there's gonna be something equally bad that happens in life, and like that's a really abstract way of thinking. Depending on if you believe in like a higher power or not, or if you believe in karma or anything, like one thing that is a constant for every person that ever existed is that there's highs and lows. Good things will happen, bad things will happen. It's just true for everyone in the world. Sometimes it's, a little bit unequal, but for the most part, people have a pretty balanced life of highs and lows. So I like that Araki's exploring that concept in this part, and especially back in Steel Ball Run. And of course, because JoJolion and Steel Ball Run take place in the same universe, I really like when I like how they have themes connecting them, which really makes them feel like a connected story in a sense. So after some quick dialogue about Toru sort of assessing the situation that's going on the Higashikata estate, where is the new Rokakaka, what should I do right now, and also what is going on with Josuke, we switch back over really quickly right back to Mamazuku and Josuke, which I was happy for. Usually Araki right around like the midway of a chapter will switch perspectives, and each chapter is kind of broke up into 2 parts. So I was kind of nervous. I was like, dude, as soon as we see Mamazuku and Josuke link back up, we get flipped back to the Higashikata estate. It's like, dude, we've been at the estate for 5 chapters now, 5 months. Please, can we see Josuke again? And thankfully, they're back here, and they don't really have much time to talk because Mamazuku has to warn Josuke that the head doctor is coming. He's on his way, but Josuke is up to something. He has a plan. And Mamazuku also kind of confirms things for us. I believe this is kind of Araki speaking vicariously through Mamazuku, saying that the head doctor is the stand in himself, which is a theory that's been going on. I think at this point, all of us could deduce that. We talked about in the last chapter that, Toru is controlling the head doctor in some way, whether it is his stand or there are 2 people controlling one stand or something. But so far, what Araki is telling us, what Mamazuku is telling us, is that the head doctor is the stand, and as we see, Toru is the one controlling it. And it's classified as an automatic tracking attack stand with like 50 abilities. And it turns out while Josuke has been sitting in this hospital for quite a long time, he has been thinking. He seems to really have a plan figured out, which we don't quite see in this chapter, but we can do some theorizing and see what Josuke might be up to. He says, I understand that stand's ability and its goal. I'm going to kill the stand directly. And he also says, and there's a way to do it. And as that happens, you see the head doctor coming out of a wall or something, just doing more weird things, which at this point, this has to be classified as an ability, which at this point gives the stand like 50 abilities. It's able to move in and out of objects. It's able to damage you if you pursue the stand. It's able to transform into a human. Literally, like, as right now, this is a really cool page, by the way, where you see the head doctor's face transform into the stand that we all thought was Toru's or the head doctor's, but now we see that the head doctor himself is that stand. And as the head doctor approaches, Mamazuku is understandably very worried, saying that, Josuke, we have to be really careful right now. If we make the slightest movement, every disaster in the entire world is going to come crashing into us. But of course, we know that Josuke is smart, and he proclaimed that he understands how the stand works. And we see his soap bubbles again. Finally, when's the last time we saw a soap bubble, guys? Maybe like when they were running away from the police or something back in like chapter 89, way long ago. It's been almost a year since we've seen even the slightest hint of a soap bubble. And Josuke says, I have soap bubbles. I have soft and wet that exist under heaven and earth, supple and moist. They spin, which is like, Okay, I don't know why you're talking like that, Josuke. And it's interesting that he said they spin, because if you guys remember way long ago, I don't even know what arc this was, but we had like sort of a retelling of Josuke's abilities and sort of the mechanics of how how soft and wet works and the soap bubbles. And it's that it was like related to string theory, and they spin super fast. Like it's one string that's spinning really fast that gives the illusion of it being a bubble. I don't know if that will ever come into the story or have any effect on the ability whatsoever. I think that was just Araki read in a magazine. Oh, string theory. I'm going to put that in my manga. And another thing I wanted to touch on that was mentioned in past chapters was when Holly said, "You cannot comprehend the head doctor's true form." And we were all discussing, like, what could that true form be? Is he like a monster or something? What could be so scary about this guy? And what could he transform into and see that is something that we can't even comprehend? And then we see this panel in chapter 98 where it is like the head doctor in his clothes, but he has that mechanical stand-like face. And I think that is what Holly was referring to, which makes a lot of sense because if you think about Holly's character, she was probably at one point a stand user because she knew of her son's ability. She would use Kira's ability, the small sheer heart attacks, to like help with patience. So I assume she could see the thing as well. And also Kira Yoshikage in the alternate universe was a natural born stand user. He didn't eat Rokakaka or anything like that. He was born a stand user. And when that happens, generally your parents are stand users too. So it would make sense for Holly to be a stand user at some point in her life. And then as her mental health had deteriorated from having being experimented on with Lokakaka 6251 and like just taking chunks of her brain out, equivalent exchange all over her body, it would make sense for her not really to remember that she's a stand user or not be able to use her stand in a sense. But since she was still a stand user at one point, she could see this part of the head doctor. So I believe that is what Holly would be referring to when she said, you cannot, doesn't that make sense, guys? You cannot comprehend the head doctor's true form. And he does. He looks like a monster right here. He looks really scary. It looks something terrifying. And if you had never seen a stand before or forgot you were a stand user, this might look like some sort of just movie monster to you. So I believe that is what Holly was referring to when she said that. And if that theory is correct in some way, and again, I don't think this is something Araki will ever like confirm upon or anything like that. I think that's just up to our own interpretation of what Holly meant by that. And I think this is pretty spot on. But that also confirms that at one point, Holly was a stand user, which I think is pretty cool. But back on into the context of this actual chapter, we'll continue on forward. The head doctor is continuing to pursue Josuke himself. It would be interesting if Josuke used his soap bubble. By the way, when's the last time we saw Josuke steal something's property? Oh, yep, there's Misty getting down. When's the last time we saw Josuke steal the property of something? He used to have the most OP ability ever. He could steal eyesight. He could steal tangible things, intangible things like thoughts. I don't think he ever stole memories or anything like that, but I think he definitely could if he wanted to. Imagine how interesting it would be if Soft One was like, I stole your ability and I'm using it against you. That's kind of stupid. Probably not actually going to happen. He probably just laid a bunch of traps or something on the ground is what I assume. Because as the head doctor approaches, before he actually steps on the ground, he's like, Josuke's been waiting for me here. He probably set a trap. Probably not safe to engage him right here, coming into enemy territory. So let's test the waters real quick. And as we'll see in a few pages, no one could have predicted this. He does the most outlandish thing that's like, oh yeah, this is JoJolion and literally anything can happen. And this is happening now. But before we get to that, we switch back over to the Higashikata state, which I really like the pacing of this, just kind of like really quick snaps back and forth to see what's going on. Again, Araki hates Yasuo. He really just loves drawing her like this. We see a close-up shot of her face crumbling. She's crying. She's still lying on the ground bleeding. Araki, why do you gotta draw this, man? Why you gotta do this to my heart? Every single month, you just gotta show her lying on the ground helpless. But she's actually getting some help right now, and we see Joshu come out of the Higashikata state holding the new Rokakaka with Jobin's blood on it, and he says something terrible just happened inside. Everything's gotten so up. So understandably, Joshu is panicking. His whole life is crumbling. His family members are dying left and right, but he's here to help Yasuo. Joshu, I knew you had it in you. I was never a Joshu hater. Don't say it, guys. Joshu, one of the best boys in JoJolion, finally stepping out and helping Yasuo. And it's really messed up when you have to think about what this guy has gone through in the past, 20 minutes of his life. Jobin killed Noriske, or at least they all think he's dead, or, he was hurt in some way. And then, we didn't see this happened off screen, but presumably Joshu saw Jobin on the ground dying because right where Jobin fell, he had the new Rokakaka next to him. So Joshu walks out, he's like, oh my God, now my brother's dead and my father's dying. Let me grab this new fruit. Let me go help. And Yasuo's dying outside. Things are just not good for Joshu. So he took an initiative. He has the new Rokakaka and he's here to help Yasuo, which might be even worse for him as he doesn't understand what everyone is after right now. He doesn't even know what this new fruit is, but he's in a pretty dangerous situation because Toru is right outside there, and Toru wants his hands on the new Rokakaka. We don't really know why yet, but he sees that Joshu has it in his possession, which is probably a big threat. So now his crosshairs are probably on Joshu, which is unfortunate. I don't want any more family members to die. The Higashikata family, they're dropping like flies. I love this family. I want the best for him. And Misty is attacking my feet. So it's cool that we get a nice Joshu moment and just give some oxygen to those Joshu fans out there, the few and far between. But we then switch perspectives back to the TG University Hospital, where we have the confrontation between the head doctor, Josuke and Mamazuku. And the head doctor switches his appearance back. So it looks like he can sort of shapeshift in a way. Again, another one of his abilities, and he turns back into his old man appearance. And the head doctor is sort of antagonizing Josuke, saying, will you be the one to pursue me, or will I have to pursue you? As well as talking about how something seems odd in the room, seems like there's a trap in some sort of way. Misty, this is Misty, if anyone wants to see her. Stop it. She's going crazy attacking my feet. She'll probably jump out of there in just a second, but stop it. Stop attacking me. Anyways, it's a stand. The head doctor talks about how one of the most interesting quotes. Now I have cat hair all over me. Good thing I'm not allergic. Let me get this off me. But anyway, so during the head doctor's confrontation with Josuke and all the dialogue he's spewing about, sort of threatening him in a way, he throws out an interesting quote that says, the point where those on a long journey are most likely to be met with an accident is just before returning home. And then his words, he says, the long-running journey is over. I have obtained the new Rokakaka, which he hasn't, he's lying, and both of you will return home soon. So I don't know if that's Araki speaking a little vicariously through the head doctor, saying that, like, we've been doing this part for 10 years now. This long journey is ending. The head doctor has possession of the new Rokakaka, and he's going to send Josuke and Mamazuku home, which that would be nice. Imagine if the villain just gave us that option. It's like, okay, you can win. Can we just like go home and just forget all this happened? Okay, cool. We're out. It seems like the head doctor doesn't really want to kill Josuke and Mamazuku that much, but I'm sure he would if he had the chance. Okay, so as the head doctor is scoping out the room, he knows there's a trap laid somewhere. There's probably soap bubbles all over the room if he tries to enter like foot or something. Imagine like the Eyes of Heaven dual heat attack with Joshu and Josuke, where Joshu spins on his back. Imagine if he did that to the head doctor just started spinning out of control in the room. That'd be hilarious. But anyway, so the head doctor, before he he wants to test the waters a little bit, so he pulls out like a slate made of like I know there's a word for this. I don't know what it is. But it's like something you can roll up. It looks like it's made out of like popsicle sticks, just like a wooden piece of paper almost that's made out of individual long pieces of wood. He puts it on the ground, and what comes crawling out is an insect-looking thing. And this is an introduction of a new type of rock creature in the part, which is like the fact that we're seeing new rock creatures at almost chapter 100 is pretty stupid, pretty crazy. But what this thing is a rock insect. And the way it operates is so weird. Maybe the head doctor is able to transfer a bit of its ability to it as the insect goes like into the ground. And then when it comes up, it makes a structure out of the popsicle sticks and turns it into a crane and operates the crane to hit Josuke. This is just the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. Honestly, it's up there in some of the most ridiculous things we've ever seen in JoJo. I don't know what compelled Araki to draw a rock insect making a crane out of popsicle sticks and throwing the popsicle sticks at Josuke. The attack wasn't very effective, but it's still an attack nonetheless. And we see a good Ora barrage from Josuke. Love a good Ora barrage. Soft one in the background, looking cool, using its soap bubbles. But for some reason that happens, a rock insect attacks. I guess the head doctor just has rock insects in his pockets whenever he needs to use them in a fight or something. And we get the name of the rock insect, just the dumbest name I've ever seen in all of JoJo. Worse than Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do from earlier in this part. It is de do 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 de da da da. Like the police song, de do 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 de da da da. I don't know why he goes with this naming scheme for the rock animals, because we saw the hair clip didn't have a name, I don't think, but obviously the first rock animal we saw Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do, and then this one is de do 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 da 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 da. Why Araki? During this intense ass arc, we have the, presumably main villain going up against Josuke, head doctor versus Josuke, confronting. We have been waiting 5 months to see what is going to happen in this scene, and the dude pulls out a rock insect called the do-do-do da-da-da-da. Why, Araki? Why? It's chapter 98, bro. I do not want to fight. Now we have to fight this rock insect for presumably a chapter or two. He's like, okay, you guys deal with this rock insect now. And it's like, God God, Araki's stalling. Why are you stalling? Why does a rock insect need to be here? I guess he just wanted to draw the crane or something. But for me, I mean, everything looks cool, but I don't like the pacing of that. I want to see this confrontation. I don't want to fight a rock insect. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. But that's right about where the chapter ends. You have the head doctor looking like he is coming out of the wall, kind of like he's going to go away for a while we fight this rock insect. And also they have some sort of conversation about their true intentions. The last bit of narration at the bottom is, and they probe each other's intentions. They probe each other. Josuke and the head doctor will probe each other, Araki says. But anyways, so they just come to the conclusion that the head doctor doesn't actually have the new Rokakaka in his possession, which I guess is relevant. Sorry if you can hear that. Misty's scratching this chair over here. Misty, you're being such a star this chapter review. You've been on camera like twice already. But anyways, guys, that is where the chapter is going to close off. It was really good in the beginning. I really liked everything that was going on. I liked Mamazuku and the head doctor going up to meeting Josuke, and everything was looking solid. We got some Joshu love. But then this rock insect, man, I don't really like that. We've stalled so much in this part already where it's like, we think we're getting close to something and then it's like, no, here, fight this thing for a while. Fight this random villain that's not very relevant. And now we're fighting a rock insect. Literally the most irrelevant thing you could ever think of, an insect, but a rock insect. I really hope we don't fight this thing for a while. I hope we kill it pretty soon. I hope it's honestly already dead and it's already defeated. But coming up in the future of JoJolion, chapter 99 is going to be next month, which is really exciting. And maybe Toru will have a confrontation with Joshu. And I think it's interesting seeing that we might see Nut King Call again, as if Joshu has to have a confrontation with Toru. It'd be really cool to see Nut King Call back in the story. Maybe Joshu comes out of nowhere and just absolutely pops off and has like a really good fight and is able to, almost perform a protagonist's role and fight against this villain that we have right now. Again, Toru, the more we know about him right now, the more that we know that this is his stand. He is controlling in a way. And I guess one of the stand's abilities on top of its 4 abilities is that it can turn into a human, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this last villain right here. It seems like it just does too much. But anyways, guys, updates for anything. This is going to be the last JoJolion review in this room right here. I'm moving again in just a few days now. I'm going to pack all my stuff up in this apartment. I know, guys, I swear I move like every single year. Once I move into my new place, this will be, so I had first place, second apartment, this apartment. JoJolion reviews will have taken place in 4 homes. I don't know. I'm sick of moving, man, but I have to this time. So unfortunately, we're going to have a new space and everything. I'll try to make it pretty similar. It'll look similar to this, but yeah, that's just a testament to how long we've been reviewing JoJolion. We've reviewed it in 4 homes now, which is going to be ridiculous. But anyways, guys, like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. Thank you all for watching so much. And we'll discuss this chapter down below. So thank you guys for watching. Peace.